Hey guys, Camp 15, join my Uncle Daryl, and we are back with Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie review. I saw the movie this past Saturday. My uncle lives in Germany, so he saw it like way before the United States gets it. So,
Yeah, I
um,
saw it 2 days before it was actually supposed to be released in the States.
yeah. But obviously the big talking point around this movie was how were they going to how was Kevin Feige, Ryan Coogler going to make a movie, a very good, compelling movie, with the fact that Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away because of his cancer and everything. And there was the whole thing, the whole issue with it, like, oh, they're not gonna recast T'Challa. There was always debates in the community saying like they should just recast him to make things simpler. It would just pay respects to Chadwick Boseman, while you had some people saying, no, I'm fine with them not recasting. And it was kind of this whole thing, and really until that one trailer dropped where it clearly looked like it was Shuri as the Black Panther. That's pretty much where they went. But I enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. It was a good movie to honor the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. The one thing about this movie, that I will say, it is a very emotional movie. It tugs at your heartstrings, from start to the middle to the finish. And obviously, it is pretty much how, without going into deep spoilers, but it's pretty much, the country and some of the main characters getting used to the realization of the fact that T'Challa's gone. But obviously, the main focus is directly on Shuri and her whole storyline with trying to cope with her brother's death. But I enjoyed it. I thought Namor or Namor, wherever, it's the same pronunciation. You can call it either or.
Yeah.
The actor, I got the cast list actually.
Tina Corta.
Yeah, Tenoch Huerta as Namor. Dude was one of the best antagonists in the MCU,
Oh,
straight up.
dude, I was totally impressed with how he brought that character to life. I
Yeah.
mean, I was just Namor is one of my favorites. If I had to list my favorite Marvel characters, number one is Thor. Number two is Namor for me.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and he brought that character to life. Now, granted, if I was going to be nitpicky, I would probably say he could have been a little bit more cut, like Namor is in the books. But other than that, dude was magnificent. I mean, absolutely magnificent. There's really nothing else you can say other than, yeah, he's Namor. He pulled that thing off flawlessly.
Yeah, and I also did also go into, I guess, the Mayan slash Atlantean race. They didn't really, I forgot what they called them in the movie. Um,
Telecom.
yeah,
Telecom.
Cal,
That's
Cal,
what the
Talocons. Yeah, the Talocons.
Telecom. Yeah, that's what they called it. But at the same time, if you really think about it, if you really go deeper into this, they really couldn't call it Atlantis because DC has already got the whole
Yeah,
Aquaman Atlantis thing.
yeah,
So it would look foolish for Marvel to sit up here and reciprocate and do the same thing. So when Coogler came up with the fact that, hey, this is a lost city, a lost Aztec city, um, it was just stroke of genius on Coogler's part. I mean,
yeah.
it was just one of the many things that Coogler did that was just absolutely amazing about this movie.
Yeah, I definitely did like this different interpretation of the MCU ways of telling like the Atlantean story. Again, we'll
Correct.
talk about that in the spoiler section with how they
Correct.
handled that. But I thought they did. It made sense. Whereas, like, okay, they're obviously Atlantean like people, but they
Correct.
don't directly
Correct.
call them that, so they don't get confused.
Correct. Correct. And they did it was a nice little origin story of how they became, you know, Marvel's version of Atlanteans,
Hmm.
water breathers, I should say. It was a nice way how they introduced the culture into the Marvel universe. It was really interesting, Namor's storyline. Um, so it was, like I say, not to release anything. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about all of that in the spoiler section. But yeah, To me, that everything that they talked about with Telecom was just a stroke of genius on Coogler's part, and I was totally impressed with that part of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huerta act performance was great. I think another A plus performance in this movie was Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah,
flat out amazing.
yeah. I got amazing, and I gotta admit, Winston Duke as M'Baku, dude was just, I mean, every now granted, you do have to have your comic relief in the movie. And for me, it was Winston Duke as M'Baku. It
Yeah.
seemed like everything, it was like I'd probably say 90% of the stuff he did in this movie made me smile, laugh, crack up. It was amazing.
Yeah, him and Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, they were definitely
Yeah,
iconic characters.
yeah, yeah. She was really cool too. Yeah, and I like that introduction was actually pretty nice as well too. The whole storyline, and I'm pretty sure we'll get to that in the spoiler section. The
Yeah.
storyline and how it fed into her role into the movie. Again, Ryan Coogler. It was just again stroke of genius.
Yeah. Letitia Wright as Shuri, I thought as the lead actor in this role in terms of being the main character, I thought she did a solid job in the role. Her story, it was somewhat similar to that of Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa in his origin film, but they kind of twisted in a way where it makes it to where it's focused on Shuri and everything. But ultimately, I liked what the movie gave us. The visuals, looked beautiful. Some of the just the shooting of the film, whether it was Wakanda or Talokan, the
Yeah.
city, it was just all great. And then the action scenes, some of the action scenes were just like really freaking crazy. Like they were really crazy good. Like the trailer, they had the Okoye versus the Talocons. That was crazy good.
Mhm.
The final battle was actually pretty good too. And then, in that fight, there was actually a shocking element in that fight that I just did not see coming. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I enjoyed this movie. I thought this movie built up and did the hype, and it actually made a good story in honorance of Chadwick Boseman. Obviously,
Yeah.
the only thing that does suck about this film is it would have been cool to see Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa go up against Huerta's Namor, but that you can't handle things that happen outside the real world.
Well,
But
there was a couple of things I was expecting, and
yeah,
again, we'll get to it in the spoilers section, so we can go a little bit more in depth about what we wanted to see and didn't. And yeah, there was a part towards you know, the end of the movie. I shouldn't say the end of the movie, or before the final battle, I should say. But there was something I was hoping to see that I didn't. Um, so granted, it didn't exceed my expectation there. Um, Shuri as a lead didn't exceed my expectations. So again, we'll talk about that a little bit further as well too. But other than that, Angela Bassett. I mean, what can you say about Angela Bassett, man? It's like she's the female version of Sam Jackson, man. Everything she touches seems to just turn to gold. So amazing actress. Um, she was strong. She was powerful. She was, commanding. She was everything that Queen Wamanda was not only in the books but also just period, man. And Angela Bassett pulled that role off flawlessly. Winston Duke was great. So the story was really good for me. But all in all, it was a great movie. I enjoyed it from beginning and an amazing tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
yeah,
Amazing tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and to the point whereas, yeah, for the most, there was a point in that movie where you didn't have a dry eye in the theater.
yeah. I didn't cry, but there was moments where I
Well,
did.
in our theater, oh my goodness gracious, you had so many military personnel up in there. I mean, I saw a special forces guy just weeping. He was just, and how I know it is that I worked with him in Ballholder, man. And as we're on our way out, and I was like, oh man, what's up? And he was just like, That was a good movie, Winfrey. That was a good movie, man. I swear, that was a good movie. I'm like, dude, didn't you just kill somebody last week? Like, it was just totally amazing that it had the most masculine of men just up in the theater, just tearing up. So yeah, just showed just how much we as fans just appreciate and love what Chadwick Boseman has brought to us through Marvel Studios.
Yeah. But pretty much only that's all that we can say about non-spoiler stuff. Go check out this movie if you haven't seen
Yeah.
it. It's a really good movie. You'll get a good time out of it. You might cry. Listen, it's a movie that, especially ending off Phase 4, it's a nice way to end off the phase that
Yeah.
obviously people would deem as the most controversial phase of the MCU.
Yeah.
But it ends off Marvel for this year because it's the last movie of the year, and it ends off the phase in a good way. So I would honestly give this movie 8.5 out of 10 in my opinion.
I was going to go 8 out of 10. Yes,
Yeah.
for me. Yep.
But anyways, we're gonna get out of here. If you guys want to get our thoughts on the spoilers, go check the movie out and come back with spoilers discussion. There will be a quick little video that will give you a spoiler alert warning, and after that, that's it. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on Black Panther, or if you're gonna go see it. So hit the subscribe when you want to get more MCU content or any other movie content I upload to the channel. But if you're still sticking around because you've seen the movie, I'll only be a quick cut, but we'll be getting to the spoilers discussion. But till then, guys, see you guys later. Peace. All right, guys, we're back with the spoilers discussion of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And the movie starts off where Shuri is trying to find a cure to T'Challa. Now we don't see him on screen, and he doesn't really, other than the typical, which I did appreciate, in the Marvel Studios like intro scene, they had it to where all of it was just Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
The only presence of Chadwick Boseman is again certain flashbacks or cutback moments to previous moments in the MCU, and then even that intro scene.
Correct.
You can kind of deem.
And there's a mural. Obviously, people saw it in the trailer too. Don't forget the mural on the first part of the movie is when they're basically celebrating his life, going to the, what's their boss to
ancestral
the
ancestral plane.
Yeah. Their version of heaven.
Yeah. I honestly, I thought they might have did the because in Star Wars, I believe Rise of Skywalker, because Carrie Fisher passed away before the movie even started filming. I think from what I remember, they just CGI'd her, and I think they had technology so advanced, you can practically record somebody's voice and just have it right then and there. I originally thought they were going to do like some sort of flashback moment at the end of the movie, T'Challa just giving his last words to Shuri, or heck, Shuri would have been at his bedside as he's passing away, and you see just a CGI version of Chadwick Boseman, and obviously, but they didn't go that route. I guess they wanted.
I don't think the family, and I don't know because me and my wife was talking about that. There was a bunch of people who really didn't want him to be seen in such a fashion, whereas he's broken down, he's sick, he's ill, or anything like that. I don't think I think basically the family wanted us as fans to remember him as the strong young man that he was. They didn't want him to be the way we all think sick people should look on their dying day. So I get that and I understand that. The only thing that really bothered me was what made him ill, what made him sick. The movie never really said that. They just got into Shuri going through some DNA process just to try to save him. And she only got it as high as I think 37%, 30% or something like that. And she tried anyway. And before she could actually utilize it on him is when he passed away. So, but at the same time, it never, the movie never said why he died. I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, but at the same time, though, I would have liked to have heard some type of explanation as to what took T'Challa away from Wakanda. Now, the first thing I started thinking about was, okay, it was the Black Panther suit, just like in Iron Man 2. It was Iron Man's suit that was, that was killing him. Then I thought, well, you can't really do that because you're just doing the same thing over again. So you can't do that. So they just didn't really give us any reason to as to T'Challa's death.
Yeah, they just is it was just
Yeah, they just
an
said he died.
undisclosed illness that wasn't curable at that
Correct.
point in time. Which,
Correct.
um, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I believe in the build up to this, I did call like the only way they could honestly write his character off like that, especially with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, is
Yeah.
they just kind of do a real life element. He had obviously his cancer. Just give it to where I'm not. Don't specify. Yeah, T'Challa has cancer, but say he came down with some sort of illness.
Right, right. And I think I remember us talking about that as well too. And yeah,
Yeah,
you did hit it spot on. And but at the same time, though, I would have thought that, they would have said something,
yeah,
the he developed some type of disease from fighting the what was that, Thanos's monsters or something of that nature through the suit. The suit absorbs something, something of that nature. Anything that would have made some type of sense, but to give us absolutely nothing. I gotta admit, for me, it was a bit of a disappointment.
yeah. We have to remember this in the timeline. They're like
Yeah,
right now. They're like 3 years ahead of us. They're like 2025.
correct,
Um,
correct.
so hey, I'm just throwing it out there. Hey, just like with 2020, COVID was a
Yep,
thing and nobody saw it coming.
correct.
Many people passed away.
I
Maybe,
saw it coming.
maybe in that year, guess what? Hypothetical sense in the MCU version,
Correct.
some sort of
And who
virus.
knows? They might actually bring this up a little bit later when someone may get afflicted by the same thing, and then they can reference this a little bit later on in maybe phase 5 or even 6.
Yeah,
Who knows? But again, just like I said, I would have liked to heard something
yeah,
but it was a minor. To me, this is not a major thing about the movie. you
hmm
know.
yeah,
I already said it was an 8 out of a 10. This had no inkling, no bearing on the reason why it's not 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or 8 or 8.5 as the reason why you put it. I mean, for me, there are other things that brought that down. This was just so minute. It's just being nitpicky on my part.
yeah. We then get this we obviously get the memorial scene
Yes.
of them pretty much sending T'Challa his real body off to the afterlife and everything. Very good scene, very good scene. You've seen it on the trailers and everything.
Yeah.
Just the way it was shot, just the way it looked, it was
Yeah.
just and the one thing I forgot to make a mention in my non-spoiler comment section, the one thing about this movie that I also kind of did enjoy was the fact that when there was these like serious moments, these emotional moments and everything, but really just in the movie in general, the entire theater was absolutely quiet.
Quiet, silent, nothing. I mean, it's like they were so wrapped into the emotion that I mean, like when Ramonda relieved Okoye of her captain of the guard duties. As a matter of fact, all I could do, I didn't make a sound, but all I could do was like,
Yeah.
because I mean, Okoye was like, I mean, to me, Okoye outside of M'Baku and T'Challa, those are the only two dudes I think in Wakanda that could have beat him. And to have this taken away from her, that was deep for
Yeah.
me. It was truly deep. But it just goes back to the pain that, Ramonda was feeling at that moment. She lost her son. And now she's at the point she felt she lost Shuri. And the one person that could have, protected Shuri was Okoye. So I mean, Ramonda was just like, yeah, you got to go. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with you. You
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I gotta admit, every jaw dropped, and I know mine did when she relieved Okoye from her captain of the guard duties.
Yeah. So I'll give props to the audience in my theater and if that's
Yeah,
the same for everybody else's theaters,
it was the
I'm sure
same in mine.
you know
It was the same in mine.
It
There
wasn't
wasn't.
like Avengers Endgame where it's like you get that triumphant moment, people start cheering. Like, heck, even when there
Yeah,
were triumphant moments in this film, you would think,
yeah.
oh, people would start cheering. No, it was just quiet the
Now I
entire.
will say this: towards the end, when Shuri would drop the white cloth into the fireplace, and they started going
Mhm.
back and forth over all the different clips of Chadwick Boseman. At the very end of that, people started clapping their hands and applauding, and some people even stood up.
Yeah, in my theater,
So,
it was just quiet.
well, I mean, they just applauded because again, it was just, and again, I was just like, and I understood why. I mean, because that tribute alone was magnificent,
Yeah,
magnificent.
yeah. So they obviously are doing that. You know, we get another time skip, a year past from this point on. And we have it to where Ramonda is pretty much ruling all over Wakanda. She's the queen.
Right,
There is no
right,
Black Panther though.
right.
He's taking all now. She walks into this courtroom, or this, UN meeting, I guess you can
Yeah,
say, and pretty much she just
it
lays
was Geneva. It was Geneva, Switzerland.
yeah. She
It was Geneva.
she lays the hammer down, pretty much saying, so at one of our Wakandan, vibranium sites, we were pretty much attacked by another country who was here at this meeting who we're allied
Mm-hmm.
with.
Yeah,
Um and it was actually a pretty intense scene because, again, Angela Bassett killed, every
killed it.
season.
Man, she walked up in there strong. I mean, she had a chest all pumped out, and she knew she had. She basically called out the French for their BS.
Yeah.
She called them out, and all the French could do was like,
Yeah, and the whole point is it goes back to
yeah,
T'Challa making the decision of at least opening up Wakanda's borders a bit out to the public eye in
correct.
terms of maybe potentially giving them vibranium and everything. But the one thing we even see how, which utterly shocked me, that we saw Val in this movie, and the fact that we find out she was actually the ex-wife to Ross in this film. It's kind of this
Oh,
whole
the Contessa. Is that what
yeah,
you're talking about? Yeah,
yeah. What is it? It's this whole dichotomy, and we kind of understand why, you know Wakanda wants to keep vibranium to themselves because, Ramonda makes the point. It's like, what would you guys do if you would have, vibranium? Oh, I know what you guys would do. You guys would go make weapons, and then, because
yeah,
guess what? That's all what you guys would do, and everything.
yeah,
And it's funny because that one dude thing. I think he's supposed to be like for the United States. After he looked after what she said, he was like, "Oh yeah,
yeah. That's what we're trying to do. But you didn't have to say it for everybody to hear it. I mean, but the term was that they used was sharing the
yep,
resources. So um, Wakanda, from what I surmise, is that that's what they were doing. They were sharing the resources, but at the same time, though, it seemed like the United States and France wanted more than what they were being given access to.
yeah."
And Ramonda was like, see, now y'all done messed up. So now y'all ain't getting nothing. Y'all ain't getting nothing because we knew you guys was trying to do this. And here are the jokers that tried to take this from us. She brought them soldiers up in there and just had them flaunted in front of everybody up in there, just to show that, listen, you try it again, and we're not gonna have this conversation again. So just don't try.
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, she was big and she was bold, man, and I think they listened. What do you think?
I think they listen, but I feel like the whole hint with this movie, especially at the end after Namor
Yes,
pretty much subsides with them, he pretty much is like, and especially we see the United States point of view in this whole thing. We might be getting potentially Wakanda. Maybe Black Panther 3 is Wakanda versus whatever country's trying to come after their vibranium, because Namor made the mention at the end of the film. Well, the surface world is going to be coming for Wakanda to get their resources now because they pissed them off pretty much.
maybe,
And that when
maybe.
that's that case, we have to go assist them. But we'll get to that at the end of the film.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think the whole movie was about a couple things. Um, the resources of vibranium from Wakanda, thus which brought in Namor.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a deep water crew that was looking for vibranium, and they came against the Talakans.
The Talocons.
Talakans,
Mhm.
and I love the fact that they introduced Namor's cousin Namora.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty cool ad as well. So they wound up taking care of, and I'm being nice about it, taking care of the crew that was underwater in their area. And yeah, they took care of them pretty swiftly as well.
Yeah.
So, Namor, while Ramonda was trying to have a mother moment with Shuri, um, at the first time that they were at this fireplace in which she was burning white cloth, and she was basically trying to educate Shuri on, how to deal with grief.
Yeah.
You know, now first of all, and I know we're gonna get into it, but for me, Shuri's emotion, it was just a little bit too much. I think it was over the top for me. I mean, now I get her emotion a little bit later on in the movie after, Queen
Mhm.
Ramonda dies. And I know that's a spoiler. We haven't made it to that yet. But before all of that, she was angry before all of that.
Yeah.
And for me, there was no reason for it. What were you angry about? There was no one that really killed T'Challa. T'Challa was killed for an unknown illness. Now maybe
I think the reason why she was so upset is she felt like she could have did something to save him with her, because the whole thing is also Ramonda is trying to teach her about, the cultural and the traditions of Wakanda. This even dates back to Black Panther 1. She was never
correct,
really
correct.
into belief of the Wakandans
Tradition.
traditions,
I
the
get it.
whole ancestral planes.
And I
She's the geek where she's like, I'm only into what I see through my science. I don't care
No, I
about.
got you. I
Yeah.
understand that. But at the same time, the whole revenge factor, being angry, the emotions they felt before Ramonda died, to me, there was no basis for it. It really wasn't. I get what you're saying
Yeah,
about,
yeah. I can understand that. I can
she was,
understand that.
what do they call it? Millennial? I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, maybe so, but, and she was upset that her brother had passed away. I mean, I would be upset if my brother passed away, I mean, I would be, but am I willing
To like
to
burn the
just
world because of it.
burn down the world because he died of an unknown illness?
Yeah.
No. No. Now, if he died because of an unknown illness and then you kill my mama, then yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel some kind of way about it. But this is before, when Ramonda is trying to talk to her, she had so much anger built up for her, and I'm throughout the entire movie, I'm like wondering why. And it just for me, it was just over the top with all of her, everything that she was feeling. It was just over the top for me.
Yeah.
And I at some point I just got tired of it, and it just seemed like that it was one thing after another. And I'm just like, okay, Shuri, damn, please, just come on, man. It was
Yeah.
just, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Namor ends up showing up because these elephants start going crazy.
correct,
And this was one of the more crazy scenes, one of the more tense scenes, and pretty much he just tells Ramonda and Shuri, like, hey, listen, I come in peace, and they're coming all hostile because, like, how the hell did you enter Wakanda? You
correct.
weren't supposed to
Wakanda.
enter. And he's like, well, I know my own way, but hey, your waters are nice. They're nice and clean and everything, which I found was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
Um, but he pretty much says, hey, listen, they're these people were looking for vibranium in the sea, and that stuff belongs to us. And they use like this device um to find it, and this device was made off some sort of scientist. What I need you
correct.
guys to do is find this scientist, bring him to me using this conch shell. Pretty much, it will alert
Yeah,
my presence. I'll take the scientist, and then guess what? I'll be out of your way now. Let this be a secret between you and me. You tell anybody else, I will come back and I will kill you.
And the thing about it, I love how he described. He was like, "Listen, I have a soldier for every blade of grass you got in Wakanda. So please don't tick me off, man.
Yeah,
Like don't. I'm letting y'all know right now. You see that blade? You see that grassy knoll right over there? I can triple that with soldiers." And he was so he was right. He was just basically, man, don't have them people in my water. And you guys know because you guys put vibranium there, or vibranium is here because of you. So since it's here because of you, it's up to you to do something about it.
yep,
And I expect you to. And if you don't do anything about it, then I will do something about you.
yeah. And he made the threat. He was definitely like from his first moment on screen, he was threatening.
Yes.
Like you could feel like, oh, you really don't want to mess with this guy.
Yeah, you don't
Um,
want to. Yeah, you really don't want to miss because he leaned, and I mean, you know how it is, because one thing that my pops did with me and your pops is that when he leaned in like this, and he was just like either he wants to make sure he heard you right, or he just like looking at you like, okay, do you get my meaning? And that's how he looked at Ramonda. He turned his head to the side, and he like, listen. I have a soldier for every blade of grass you got on this land. I say, so please don't mess with me.
yeah,
And I'm again, that was one of my moments. It was quiet, but that was my moment, and I'm just like, I
yeah,
ain't never heard no stuff like that before.
yeah,
And he looked at her all kinds of sideways. He's like, man, don't play with me.
yep,
You better do it.
pretty
You know.
much.
So that's when I believe, and you can question if I'm wrong. That's when Ramonda got Okoye to go, and I think she didn't want
She
Shuri to
didn't want
go.
Shuri to go. Shuri wanted to go with
Shuri
Okoye.
wanted to go, but Okoye was sent, but Shuri wound up going anyway. I can't remember if she just went
Well, what
or
happened is Ramonda wasn't cool with it, but Okoye's like, okay, it's okay, fine. I'll watch after. I'll make sure she's
correct.
good and
Okay, yeah,
everything.
you're right. That's what made Ramonda so ticked off at her
Yep.
when Shuri didn't come back with
Yeah.
her. So and that's where they met Riri Williams. You
Yeah.
know,
The way they get to that is they actually go back to a former character we saw from the first movie because they're like, well, how are we gonna find this person? And it's like, well, I know a
uh-huh.
guy. And they cut to Everett Ross. He
Yep.
returns in this film.
Yep.
Pretty much he gives them some information. It's like, listen, I'm not supposed to tell you guys this information because this is like CIA
Yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah. I know
he
you Wakandans. You gonna find out about it anyway.
So he's like, yeah, there's this scientist who knows how to do this and just built it. So they go to
Mhm.
like it's like some school in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Um and
and
that's
she's
where
a child prodigy.
yeah,
Riri Williams is going to school,
yeah,
and she was a child prodigy. I think they found her, um, proving her intelligence to one of the students there, on her cell phone,
yeah,
with a paper that I think she wrote for him or something of that nature.
yeah,
And I mean, she was really good as the person who wound up creating the suit we all know as Ironheart.
hmm,
And she had some comic relief up in there. She was hood too.
yeah,
That's what I liked about it. She was hood, and I mean, you got a hood girl up in northeastern United States,
yeah.
where there probably are no hoods. So I thought that was pretty clever, and it also shows how smart she was too if she was going to school there.
Yeah, I did live in Connecticut for like 3 years going to
You did,
college. There were some slum type of hood looking areas there. I never went
yeah,
there,
but
but
she wasn't from it.
yeah.
I can tell you, no, she wasn't from it.
And
She
maybe
was
she was, maybe she, I don't know. Maybe she came from the Bronx. I don't know.
maybe I was thinking more like where me and your pops grew up at in Chicago.
Hmm.
So I was thinking more like that, or Detroit,
Yeah.
maybe St. Louis.
Yeah. So,
I can even see her coming from LA or Compton
yeah.
or something like that. The 80s version of Compton. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's like now. But that's what I was visioning. I wasn't thinking of Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
And I hope some of your viewers don't get mad at me about that comment, but
Yeah, now the reason is when Okoye and Shuri sees how young Riri Williams is, they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, we cannot hand this girl over to him because he'll
no,
just kill her. She's too
yeah, just
young."
kill them. Yeah,
Especially when Shuri talks to her and asks like, "How old are you?" And she's like, "I'm 19." And that was like, "Oh yeah, we can't have this
yeah,
kid get killed at this
yeah.
young
We can't. I
age."
mean, because that's what Namor's gonna do. Namor's just gonna slit your throat and be done with it.
Yeah, and it was interesting because if they pretty much the Wakandans were like, well, if it's like some old 60-year-old man, whatever, we could care less.
Yeah, we go ahead and hand him over. He done lived his life.
Yeah.
But
Um.
that's what they were probably expecting too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that type of technology, um, you can't imagine someone of Riri Williams' age creating that type of technology. Now it's not a realm of possibility, but that's not what they were expecting.
Yeah. And even before that entire scene, Shuri was breaking it down. Pretty much, she says like this was all from like a garbage dump. Pretty much, she built
Yeah,
this, and it's
yeah,
like, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
well, that's
yeah.
kind of the thing. We're running out of time. In terms of our Zoom call, we'll be back real quick to discuss the rest of the film, but it'll be a quick cut for you guys. But till then, we'll see you guys soon.
Let's go.
All right. So yeah, they do coming back. They pretty much the one funny scene is when it looked like she was about to use the restroom, Okoye was right there. And the thing was Okoye was like, I was gonna give Shuri 5 minutes. She's like, your 5 minutes were up. And it was absolutely hilarious. Because she just goes to the bathroom and she starts screaming. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And in my theater, I was looking around like, is somebody screaming out of nowhere? And it was just a koi out of the way. Um, but they go to like I guess you could say her warehouse area where she just makes her parts. You know,
Yeah,
she has I guess you could say her version of the Mark One suit.
yeah,
Right then and there. In the meantime, I guess the FBI freaking or the feds found out what the heck the Wakandans were doing because they're like, hey, you need to step out, yada yada yada. How they knew, no idea, but
no
okay.
idea. It could have been Ross. It could have been the Contessa. Well, it probably was because later in the movie she revealed that she was basically tailing and bugging him.
Yeah,
So she knew what he was doing throughout the entire movie. So more than likely it was her.
yeah. Yeah, that so
Because
they
when
it
she in control of this the CIA or the the
she's in control of this
damage
she's in control
the
of the what's gonna be the Thunderbolts, pretty much.
well, no, eventually, yes. I'm talking
Yeah.
about right now. Wasn't she
I
just
guess she's a
in?
member of the government working for the
Yeah, she was a
CIA
member
or
of the government, and Everett Ross was her ex-husband.
yeah, which
But
was actually shocking. And it's funny
yeah,
because
that was pretty shocking.
when I saw Val, I was like, why does this girl look familiar? I just can't think of her name. And then
Who, the
she
contestant?
yeah.
Oh, you mean, come on now, she was in Seinfeld.
No, I'm talking about her MCU her M-
Okay. Okay, yeah. I
yeah,
just obviously I remember her from what was it,
Falcon
the
the Winter Soldier,
Winter Soldier, and obviously
Hawk,
she
the
was
end
at
of
the
Hawkeye, yada yada.
beginning
Yeah.
of Black Widow.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's clear that they got a major role for her, which obviously is what we now know as the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah. So we were going on about Dark Avengers, and I think there was another group that she might be trying to get together. I forgot the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. But now we all know it's the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So yeah. So she's basically what Amanda Waller is
Waller is, yep, for
in
Suicide
for,
Squad.
yeah, for Suicide Squad and DC over Katniss.
Yeah.
So now, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. But yeah, she was bugging Ross.
Hmm.
She knew because she basically said, "Yeah, I know what you've been doing, since the beginning." So I'm assuming it was her who sent the troops in to go get Okoye and Shuri.
Yeah. Turns out it ends up being pretty much a car chase scene in a way that is
Mhm.
similar to the car chase scene from Black Panther 1.
Yeah,
literally, it was honest to God the same identical scene. The only difference is you take
correct.
out Chadwick Boseman for Shuri being there in person compared to her
Correct.
being there virtually in the
Correct.
last movie.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah, Shuri was virtually in the car and things of that nature. Yeah. So yeah, it was a nice chase scene, although the one in Black Panther was so much better.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it ends up they get to the bridge area. That's when they end up getting attacked by the Talokans, who are like
Hmm.
literally coming off like freaking, I believe it was orcas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I turned to my sister. I'm like, they got killer whales up in here. I'm
They
like,
got
what's
killer
going on?
whales. Dude, man, Namor is freaking awesome. He
At first,
was
at first, I thought it
awesome.
was a shark. I'm like, oh, they got sharks,
Uh-huh.
but then they showed it was a
I
killer.
did. I did think there were sharks at first too. I did think there were sharks at first too. But man, when they found out it were killer whales, I'm just like, man, I'm sorry, man. Namor got Jason Momoa's Aquaman beat. Dude, just
I like both of their versions of.
I like both of their versions too. The only thing that I'm really happy about is that it just does not seem like the Marvel universe is going to do to Namor what they did to Thor by making him a buffoon.
Yeah.
So I like that part.
Um. So it ends up getting attacked. Shuri is knocked out. Riri Williams is knocked out. That's
Yep.
when you get Okoye versus the Talokans, especially this one big buff one that she has kind of a rivalry throughout the movie.
Right. The two
Um.
captains of the guard.
Yeah.
So
It was a good fight. It was one of the better
it,
fight
it,
scenes
it was
in the
definitely a
movie.
good fight. Yeah.
We see that the Talocons are, I guess, impenetrable to stabbing wounds, but it was weird because I think back in the one scene, they ended up getting shot in the face by the one chick that was running away on the one
Right.
oil riggery, the
Right.
refinery place, trying to look for the thing. And they were getting shot. And I'm like, wait, so these guys can just get back up off of stab wounds and gunshots? I don't know. They never
Yeah.
expressed they never express that because it's like these guys could get back up and they get stabbed where it looks like they're
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
But then I'm over here seeing that's kind of a nitpick of mine, but I'm over here seeing they get gunshot or hell. In the final battle, they make it seem like there's a lot of casualties between Wakandans and Talokans, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it
Now,
is.
granted, the Wakandans do fight with vibranium, so
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with it. Whereas
Well,
her,
her staff is made of vibranium. She impaled them with vibranium.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's true. That's true. So, I mean, they did kind of make it seem like the Talakans were like invincible,
yeah,
which I would have thought that and you know, only Namor should have. I would have thought Namor would have been the only one that would have been OP, overpowered,
mhm.
but yeah, it seemed like the whole race was just OP for me. And it
Yeah,
was just, yeah, it was, I understand the whole dichotomy, Wakandans, Talakans, but at the same time, though, there should have been something there that would have made them kind of like even Steven, with the exception of Namor, because Namor was quite the unique individual with his origin story.
yeah, and we'll get to the Namor's like whole weakness, but this kind of goes with the Talokans, the fact that they need to live in water to survive, so
Correct.
they can't stay
Correct.
without it too long, otherwise their powers drain.
Correct, which is the reason why they use breathers when they hit the land, whereas Namor didn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okoye ends up losing the fight. She ends up getting
correct.
thrown into the water. The thing is, it looks like the Talokans are about to kill Riri Williams, and she's like, "Hey, Shuri gets back up because she gets some sort of jolt. I forgot how.
Yeah, I
Um,
forgot about you.
but she pretty much tells him, "Hey, just take me to Namor. Don't kill her. Just take me to Namor and everything." So it kind of becomes this whole thing of the Wakandans don't know that Shuri just went for her, just went on her own. She didn't tell anybody. And then that's when you get this very intense scene between Okoye and Ramonda, where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this." At this point, Ramonda just
Yeah,
absolutely lost it. She's like,
yeah.
you're removed from the what's their
Yep.
group? Um,
Dola
the Dora
Mirage,
Milaje.
Malak.
She's like,
Yeah.
you'll be stripped of your title and
Yep.
everything. And
Yep.
some of the other people were like, "Hey, Queen, come on, Queen, aren't you going a little bit too hard?" And
I
Even
did. I thought so too. But at the same time, I understood where
and
she
even
was coming from.
yeah, and Okoye makes
I,
the mention. She's like, "Queen, may I speak? Like I've helped out your family for the longest time. I've always been by your side. You know I
correct.
wouldn't do anything." And then obviously Ramonda's like, "Please get the hell out of here. I
She was just
lost
like, listen, you done done,
my." She goes on to make the mention. My husband was killed. Now my
yep.
son dies, and now guess what? My
And
daughter
now
might be
guess,
dead. So
and
I've
then on
lost.
top of that, throughout all of this,
Yep.
you were captain of my guard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just basically, and it was like, I have lost enough. And now it's time for me to just start. Hey, if you can't do what's necessary to keep the Wakandas alive, then I don't need you. And I get where Ramonda was coming from. To me, what she talked about as far as pain and loss, I understand all of that. I just, again, Shuri was the one that was ticking me off throughout the entire movie with her grief.
Yeah. So after that scene, again, another great freaking scene by Angela Bassett, just the
Yeah.
raw emotion. Again,
Yes.
honestly, her and the actor that played Namor, Huerta, geez Louise, they were like by far. I would not be mad if somebody said I like, Huerta more than Bassett, but I wouldn't be mad if people say I like Bassett's performance a lot more than
Yeah,
Huerta.
exactly. I would not be mad if anyone said Bassett deserves an Oscar. I
I think she deserves an Oscar just from this performance alone.
gotta admit, I would not be shocked if someone said Bassett deserves an Oscar for this movie.
Oh, she's
I mean,
definitely gonna be in like the finalists for the Oscars for this
oh, I
movie.
gotta admit, she should probably get something. I mean, I'm pretty sure the movie will get some type of Oscar,
Oh yeah.
nomination, whether it be for screenplay, whether it be for CGI. Uh, I don't know. But I can honestly say if there is an actor slash actress that needs to have some type of Oscar consideration, Angela Bassett.
Yeah. Um, the Wakandas they then go into a discussion with the world leader, with their leaders from the different the clans, about how they're gonna handle this whole situation, and the whole thing is like, well, and Baku pretty much drops. He's like, well, what's the point in just sitting tight and freaking doing nothing? We might as well just fight them now. They're gonna come to us
Might as
eventually.
well. But he also let them know that, listen here, this is how they feel about this guy. His nickname, I mean, I shouldn't say his nickname, his name is, and I can't pronounce it, Kalu Kua Koan.
Yeah,
I can't,
something. It was
I'm,
something with a K.
I'm blowing it
Oh,
up. So,
Kaku Khan. I think it's
yeah,
Ka.
but anyway, you
Yeah.
get the gist. But they were saying they see him as a god. It translated as feather serpent god. When they see him as a god, they are going to fight to the death to protect him and do his bidding. We have to understand that. I say, so the only way to probably rid ourselves of the Talakans is to kill their leader. And and I don't know if the Wakandans were actually thinking about that until M'Baku brought that up.
Yeah, it's a Kuku Khan.
You
The Klu Khan, something like
okay?
that. The
Something like,
plume serpent god.
but I understand. But that's the way M'Baku described it:
Yeah.
feather serpent god. And he was just basically trying to get them to understand, like, hey, man, hold on, before we decide to go into war with these folks, you guys got to understand something. His name translates to feather serpent god. That means they worship him as a god. And if they worship him as a god, they are going to fight for him until death.
Yep.
And you all have to understand that.
Yeah. So that's when we cut to what Shuri's doing in the Teleconian city. She is pretty much has a discussion or a talk with Namor. Now, I don't know if they're going to maybe I don't know if they definitely played this whole potential maybe romance angle between Namor and Shuri. Maybe, I don't know if they're gonna go that direction.
I don't know, but I really thought that, honestly, this is how I felt. I don't know about anybody else. I'm probably the only person that felt this way. Based on the trailers that I've seen, I was thinking more of romance between Queen Ramonda and Namor. It seemed like they had a more and maybe better chemistry than Shuri and Namor did in the movie. So I was thinking more along those lines, but obviously it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. So he has a discussion. He shows her like the city, which again it looked really visibly beautiful, and I like the whole thing.
Correct.
Is like they pretty much have their own version of the sun because they pretty much live in the deep, darkest parts of the ocean, and if you go that
Correct.
deep, which you can because the water pressure would literally kill you, it's dark
Correct.
as all get up. So they pretty much
Correct.
live in the dark. And he also explains his backstory, how he became who he was. So pretty much his backstory goes, originally the people of Talokan, they were surface worlders. His
Correct.
mom was, and this is like in ancient times, because
Correct.
Shuri makes the mentions like, you look like you barely age, like you're still like young pretty much. But in reality, it has something to it explains with his backstory. So at some point, there was this one individual that swam down to the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean. He found this like this plant like thing that, it pretty much made the Talaconians, what
It
they
basically
were.
mirrored the heart shaped herb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So I
And
forgot, I think yeah, they all got this disease. They all had this
correct.
disease and it was killing them. And
Correct.
this guy's like, well, we should use this. Maybe this can
Correct.
heal us. So they end up, all ingesting it and everything, and because of it, it turns them into what they are now, the
Correct. And you
Talakans.
actually see that they develop gills and things
Yep.
of that nature. So one of them was actually pregnant at the
Yeah, and that
time.
was his mom.
That was his mom. When she developed, the gills, obviously the herb, affected Namor in a way that once he was born, I mean, he could do both. He can live in the water, he can live, out the water,
Yep.
So he became one of the first mutants.
Yeah, they call them
Although,
mutants, which has been the
yeah,
thing they've
right.
been calling
I
X-Men
think he
characters.
just he described himself in the movie. I think he described himself as a mutant.
Yeah, he did. He did. He told
Yeah,
Shuri like, I'm literally the first mutant, which it's
literally
been
the
the
first
term
mutant.
that's been getting passed around the entire MCU because
Correct.
that's the new identification of X-Men characters or something
Correct.
like that.
Correct. And to me, that let me know that soon in coming, will be the X-Men.
Yeah.
Um, but so when he was born, obviously he was born with and we saw it in the trailer. He was born with wings on his feet and things of that nature, and he developed a hatred for the surface world at a very early age. You
Yeah.
know, so and that hatred fed him to what he is today.
Yeah.
Now they really didn't go on to say how old he was, whether it was 100 years, 200 years, 300, 400, 500. They really didn't say how old he was, but yeah, he did say that he was the first mutant.
Yeah. He was gonna lay after his mom passed away. He was gonna lay his mother to rest on the surface world because that's what she
That's
wanted.
correct. That's
And
correct.
then came across just people in slavery. And pretty
Correct.
much he used the Talokans to take them out. And then this one priestess like character gives him the name Namor or Namor.
Correct.
And that's how he becomes who he is. I thought the kid actor did a pretty solid job
He did
in
a
what.
solid job as well too. Now he did describe himself early in the movie when he was talking to Queen Ramonda that his name is Falu Kala, and but my enemies call me Namor.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, so you've been under siege for so long that you actually have enemies. And I thought that was a nice lead in. I was like, okay, so why do they call him Namor? And then that's when they went to the clip of him being young, trying to bury his mother, and he came up against slave owners, and then he just ordered the Talakans to take him out, and while he just stood and watched. it was
Pretty.
it was like one of the Michael Corleone like events.
Yeah.
Whereas, at that particular moment, the Talakans was kissing the ring because yeah, he wasn't playing that. So I did like again, like I said, I like the backstory with the Talokans, how they became, and it's similar to the Wakandans. They had the heart-shaped herb, and the Talokans had an herb as well too.
Yeah. So Shuri's just trying to convince Namor not to kill Riri Williams, but Namor's like, sorry, but if she stays alive, only more hurt will come to my people, and I got to
Correct.
do what I got to do to protect my people.
Correct.
Then
It's
you
the
would do the
same
same.
thing as, yeah, you would do the same thing for Wakanda,
Yeah.
you know.
So this puts Shuri between a rock and a hard place. Now, in the meantime, Ramonda's been taking the look for Shuri on her own. So she actually goes to Haiti, and she actually goes finds Nakia.
I'm sorry. Peter Luongo was fine as hell in this. Oh my. Okay, go
Um,
ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
she's like I guess a teacher at the school in Haiti.
Correct.
And pretty
Correct.
much Ramonda walks her through like a what is it? Shuri got kidnapped. I need you
Correct.
you're the only one other person I can trust. And everything. Also, we do find out she did not go to T'Challa's funeral.
Correct.
Um and Ramonda asked her, like, hey, why didn't you show up? And she's like, I just didn't feel like I needed to.
I just didn't think it was the right place for me.
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
by the
she
time we
explained it. I thought she explained it pretty well.
yeah,
I mean, just like with any other funeral, that if you don't want to be overtaken with too much grief, then yeah, I don't want to be I wanted to grieve in my own way.
yeah. Now we find out the real reason why she did not show up, but we'll get to that at the end of the
Yeah, I was
movie.
about to say you want. I didn't think you'd want to talk about that now. Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, listen, I need you to just find these people that like use these. She goes on to mention Namor and everything. She's like, okay, I can go see if I can do. So she ends up going to like this hut area where this old lady pretty much goats the old lady into talking. She's like, oh, I've seen these mysterious people from the seas too, and pretty much that's when she gets information. She pretty much
Mm-hmm.
uses this one bike to go underwater to go find Shuri. In the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, Namor actually has another confrontation with Ramonda, which again was another holy crap threatening scene by Namor, where he's like, "If I ever catch any one of you Wakandan people in my country, I will be coming to kill you personally, pretty much."
Personally, and I
Because
think that was the one. Personally,
yeah,
yeah,
because to him it's just pretty much a declaration of war.
that's it. No other words need to be said at that particular moment for me. It was more like one of them lean in. Now, what did I
Yeah,
tell you when I was outside by that lake? What did I tell you? Okay, all right, do it again. And the next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. It's just that simple. To me, that's what I got out of it.
yeah,
That's what I got out of it. And that's why when he did come back, I mean, we can go ahead and talk about that part.
yeah. We're getting
When
into it
he
now.
did,
So
yeah, when he did come back to Wakanda, because obviously, he didn't listen. He came straight for Ramonda. But
yep,
you know what? This to me, this is my favorite part about Ramonda. When she was outside that glass, and you see it in the trailer that he's coming, you see a silhouette of him coming up with a spear. Well, in the movie, yeah, he came up with that spear. He put that spear into that window, and did Ramonda blink? No. She just stood there like, okay, is that all you got?
yeah,
And she just stood there. So I gotta admit, man, and then, well, eventually he did get through the glass and wound up flooding the hall where she was at,
yeah,
and she wound up being a casualty of everything that happened that day because Namor was ticked because
yeah.
he basically just backed up a promise.
Yeah, because what happened was when Nakia saved Shuri and Riri, she ended up
Yeah,
taking out a few, like one or two Talokans. Namor got
correct.
back. He's like, all right, we got to take these things, and then you just
Yeah,
get the
yeah, y'all,
raid on
y'all,
Wakanda.
listen.
Absolutely crazy. Probably, in my opinion, it was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, y'all ain't listening. You just ain't listening. So since you're not listening, I'm gonna give you something that I think you will understand.
Yeah,
So anyway, he in a nutshell, he took out Ramonda.
yeah. I found it hilarious how when M'Baku saw Namor, he's like, oh, I'm gonna get some, and then he absolutely
Yeah,
just gets freaking
bam,
punched. And I was
bam.
like, oh my gosh.
Because keep in mind now, keep in mind, and we both know in the books, Namor beat the Hulk. Now, granted, he took him to the water, but Namor beat the Hulk. So, I mean, it just goes to show you just how strong Namor is.
Which, funny enough, they do make a mention of the fact, like, what are we going to do against a guy who's like as strong as the Hulk?
Strong as the Hulk.
So
So it's just like, he ain't no joke, So Ramonda's dead. They have
yeah,
another
which
ceremony. Go
before
ahead.
before we yeah, he what he pretty much does is we see the Talocons actually use it. They have like these water like bombs,
Yeah.
which was actually pretty cool like type of weapon, but it just
Mm-hmm.
floods he just throws a bunch of them at the windows. It's too late. The room area floods.
Floods with water. That's right.
Her and Riri Williams falls like through this passage area where it's just a bunch of water. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, come on, just get up to the surface and you just get some air. But I'm like,
Yeah.
don't tell me she's gonna die too. And when
I
Shuri
gotta
gets
admit, it was a shock to me. I didn't think that they,
I was shocked
I,
too.
I was shocked to find out that I was like, man, they killed Angela Bassett. Oh,
Yeah,
like Ryan Coogler. I gotta admit, director of the year. Anybody that can kill Angela Bassett gets my vote for an Oscar.
yeah. Uh
Yeah,
I was in utter shock that they killed her like that. I was like,
I
gee,
was blown away.
you just see her lifeless body right then and there, and they're doing the whole CPR thing, trying to resuscitate her. They resuscitate Riri Williams, but after so much, and then they check her pressure, her pulse. It's just red. It's gone. Nothing's there,
Yeah,
and
it's
I was
gone.
just like, wow,
And again, it was just another one of the moments where the theater was just completely
like
quiet, but my mouth was just again
dropped.
just dropped.
Like I didn't see it coming. I'm like, now maybe that hit something. Now, obviously, maybe Angela Bassett didn't want to stick around too long, but you know, this also furthers impacts Shuri's character because
Correct.
she lost her dad. We didn't really get her take on that, but then we see at the start of the film
Now,
how she felt about
right.
losing.
She did connect with Queen Ramonda as well, too, similar
Yeah,
to her being a surrogate mother almost. So she decided to want to stick around Wakanda just so she can, you know, help Shuri, take down this threat.
yeah,
So I'm gonna use this Wakandan technology to because she just at that particular moment she wanted to hang around. Before that, I don't think she really was. She wanted to go to see Wakanda, but I don't think she wanted to go and hang out
yeah,
until Ramonda died.
yeah. So she pretty much recreates the formula of the what is it? The heart
The
um
heart-shaped herb.
Yeah, the heart shaped herb. Now, the reason why they had to recreate it because after the first movie in the Killmonger situation, they stopped that tradition because we can't have another guy like a Killmonger dude come up in Wakanda,
Right,
just take
right.
over, get the
Well, he
ability.
burned it all anyway.
Yeah,
He
get the
burned it
ability.
all anyway, and they just had one left for
Yep.
T'Challa, so they really didn't have anything. So Shuri, being Shuri, I think she's number 2 as far as being the smartest person in the Marvel universe. I know she's top 4.
Yeah.
So she winds up using the same DNA sequence that she tried to use in the beginning of the movie to recreate the heart-shaped herb, and she was successful.
Yep.
She wound up taking it, and thus she became the Black Panther.
Yeah. And we get the whole scene in the ancestral plane because the reason why she did that is she wanted to see Ramonda. She wanted to see her mom.
Right.
But another jaw-dropping moment that
Now,
I did not see coming.
I don't know what you wanted to see, but this is the moment where I was hoping to see
They
that
were going to show
CGI
Chadwick
of
Boseman.
T'Challa. That's what I was hoping to see. I was hoping to see T'Challa.
That's
Just
I thought they were gonna show us Chadwick a CGI Chadwick Boseman T'Challa
yes,
talking to her like
T'Challa
hello
to
sis.
talk her off the ledge. Say this is just like what Tony Stark said. Hey man, that's the hero gig. You
Yeah,
know, part of the journey is the end. And I'm thinking that's probably what he was just give us something to say. But dude, and here we go again. Ryan Coogler. My
I did
goodness.
not when this scene and the way the camera pans, it's when Shuri walks and then you see the camera just moves and then you see Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
I was like, oh my god.
Now at that moment, yeah, I don't. There was no more quiet in the theater because I think everybody was expecting T'Challa. I know I was, but when Killmonger shows up, now it made sense after their conversation.
Yep.
But when Killmonger showed up, man, and you hear all different sounds from everybody in the theater.
Um, Listen, I don't know how they hid this because Marvel did a good job at hiding this. Like
Yeah,
they couldn't hide Toby and Andrew being, away from these
yeah,
or being in Spider-Man No Way Home. And somehow
yeah.
I heard absolutely nothing about this film. Now maybe it had to do with the fact that
Nothing.
this movie barely had any marketing. You really only needed to see two trailers of this movie, really the first original trailer, and then you already sold on this movie. But the fact that they
Correct.
kept this whole thing hidden, and I was just like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Also, this also
yeah,
confirms for people that love Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, he's dead now. He's in the
yeah,
ancestral plane. So that means,
yeah.
guess what? He can't come back.
They confirmed his death because I know a lot of times, people were thinking, well, Shuri's gonna figure out a way to revive, Killmonger,
Yeah.
but no.
Nope.
But anyway, the reason why she was seeing Killmonger is because she wanted revenge, and she wanted that one person that could probably confirm what she wanted, which was revenge, and that's exactly what Killmonger did. He was like, "You're like, girl, you know why you here." You want revenge, and you want me to tell you how to get it. And he was talking in his hood voice, and it was so cool. He had that what I mean, it was just oh man, I don't even know how to. It was just amazing. For me, that was just the icing on the cake of everything that was going on with that particular movie at that time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine them getting any bigger than that. I was like, man, this last fight scene has got to be off the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I was in utter shock and awe that they got Michael
Yeah.
B. Jordan back. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take it. So
Um,
she does winds up donning the Black Panther suit, but before that, she does talk with Riri Williams about, Namor's pathology and, come up with a plan on how to defeat him.
yeah.
So she went back to being, obviously the number 3 or number 4 smartest person in the MCU, using her gifts and abilities to come up with a way to beat Namor and use his pathology against him.
Yeah. She shows herself between for M'Baku, and
Correct.
and he pretty much she tells her plans to the others, like this is how we're gonna get Namor, yada yada yada.
Correct.
But M'Baku
Correct.
and her have a whole discussion, about her mindset,
It was a heart to heart too.
the reason he's pretty much asking her, like, are you just trying to kill this guy just for revenge, or are you trying to stop this guy because you want to protect your people? And
Correct.
really, at this point, Shuri's only doing this strictly for revenge. He wants to kill him
Correct.
because, well,
Correct.
he killed my mom and
Kill my
everything.
mom, you know. But I was angry before mom died, so mom dying just really increased my anger, by 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about the climax. Right after this quick little break, but we'll be back for more Black Panther, and then we'll give our thoughts on or we'll give any other final thoughts, and then I guess our thoughts on Phase 4. But other than that, we'll
Yep.
be back real quick. All right, so we're at the climax of the film. So pretty much we have the Wakandans versus the Talokans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the crazy this battle was absolutely crazy. We also see
Yep.
Okoye and Ayo don the what is it? The another
It was the midnight.
Yeah, it was Midnight something.
Yeah, the new version of the Protectors of Wakanda, so
Yeah.
to speak. It was a uniform that was created by Shuri,
Yep.
and Okoye really didn't care much for it in the beginning of the movie, but because of the circumstances surrounding her release from being captain of the guard, and Queen Ramonda's gone, and now Shuri's the Black Panther, but she could have easily gave Okoye back the control of the Dora Milaje. She could have easily given her control back, but again, I think she better felt that she could control the new suit a little bit better without any great responsibility to protecting the throne.
Yeah.
So, not granted, I think she's better, given in her original job, but but this suit was nice, dog. Yeah, I gotta admit, I liked it, you know.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, and so she's given this honor. So I thought it was her and Nakia. Was her and Nakia?
It was her and Io.
Oh, Nio. Okay.
Yeah.
So they both going, yeah, this is an amazing battle, man. But
And this is all taking place on just a ship out in
yeah,
the water, which I was like, wait, why are you playing to their advantage? But then again, it's like, well, you have no other choice. Just fight.
yeah, just
Um,
fight. Just fight.
so
And
in
the Wakandans, they still have vibranium at their leisure. So, they're still pretty powerful in their own right, even though the Atlanteans, from a pathology standpoint, they're a little bit more stronger with each, well, I shouldn't say Atlantis, I'm sorry, the Talakans. The Talakans are a little bit more stronger due to their pathology.
Yep.
But, because of the vibranium, I think the Wakandans kind of held their own.
Yeah. So what happens is they manage to trick Namor into going into a Wakandan ship. Oh, my thoughts on Ironheart's Riri Williams Iron Man suit, her costume. It looked really good. I liked it. It looked fine, but we know it's going to get more advanced in her own show because Ironheart is a Disney Plus show. Um
It was
what
all
you,
right. It
you
wasn't what I expected.
okay. And
It
she could
was,
be getting a new
but at the same time, if we're talking about the actual books, it did kind of mirror what I saw in a couple of comic covers. I never read the books, but I did see a comic cover or two. So from that standpoint, yeah, it really mirrored what was on those two covers. But it was all right.
she could be getting a
From
new she could be getting a new
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that once she gets her own show, she'll just like Tony did. I mean, with his Iron Man suits,
yeah.
he took one and made it better.
Yeah. So with the fight between Shuri and Namor, the thing is they split them up and they put him in a Wakandan ship that has like these like just advanced heaters, which we find out his weakness, Namor's weakness is if he's just in like areas where it's just no water and it's just dry,
Correct,
he gets
correct.
weaker. And
Or
that's
even better yet, you just keep his mind so much on the battle that he don't think about water. And at this particular moment, he probably just wasn't aware, But like let's just say with the fight with the Hulk, he was aware that where he's best in water, whereas this is new and is evolving and being his evolution is being the king of Talakan. Um, that he probably was just unaware that the less he's in water, um, it really does him harm, so to speak. And Shuri figured that out. So yeah, she pretty much put the pressure on him to stay out of the water,
yeah.
and he kind of fell for it. But at the same time, he still held his own.
Yeah, and it goes to the inexperience that even though Shuri has these Black Panther abilities, she
Yeah,
doesn't have any like fighting. She's not
correct.
doing that.
She's not
Uh,
a fighter. She's a scientist. Let's
yep.
just say like Tony. She's a scientist. And Tony, for all intents and purposes, he wasn't a fighter either. He wasn't skilled with a fight. It's just that he had the suit, which actually augmented what he wanted to do physically. You
Yep.
know. And it's the same thing with Shuri. She used the Black Panther. Now she's been in a couple battles though, with the Tiger Claw.
Yeah, but they ended up
Uh,
getting disabled in the fight.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct. So, but at the same time, as a straight up fighter, no, that she was not.
yeah. The fight between her and Namor, it was actually pretty brutal. Like
It was pretty brutal.
I was like, geez, they
Yeah,
actually,
it was. It was, and I think they had to make it that way, considering you have a female going up against a male. I think you pretty much have to show that the female can hold her own. against the male. And in this particular case, oh yeah, dude, she was laying some haymakers on him.
Yeah. She ripped off like one of his foot feather wings
Yep.
off that. I was like, yeah, and then what got me the most, what shocked me the most is when there was a part where it looked like I'm like, okay, she's probably gonna win now. And then surprised me, freaking dude impales her with her his staff. And I was like,
With the staff.
oh,
And
and just and impales
yep,
her on and sticks the staff on like a rock. And I'm just
on
like,
a
oh
yep,
shoot.
yep,
Don't
to
tell
the
me
point where
Shuri's gonna
she
die
couldn't
in this
move.
movie too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was thinking as well too. I was like, oh man, don't. I was like, man, this movie is really gonna hit you in the gut with the emotion, man. It's just like all three of them, Shuri, Ramonda, and T'Challa basically dies in the same movie. Man, that's deep. But you know, the hero never dies, man. So
Yeah.
she winds up,
It was painful to watch. She cuts the
it
staff
was painful to watch. I got to
and
admit, it was painful to watch because he basically, he ran right through it with the spear.
yeah,
Now, the shocking part was that spear made of vibranium?
yes, it was. They
Okay,
that's
well, then it makes sense why he impaled her. Because if it was any other spear, it should have just broke, but it didn't.
well, remember the suit is also made of vibranium too. The
Well,
claws.
that's true. That's true. So only vibranium can penetrate vibranium, but I never thought that his spear was
Yeah,
vibranium.
because you remember in Captain America Civil War, when Captain America was fighting Black Panther, he sliced down through the shield and actually
Correct.
made a dent on it.
Made a dent on it. That's correct. That's correct. So I mean, that's the part that really got me. It also let me know that yeah, I forgot Namor has access to vibranium. I forgot he's got that. So yeah, he was it was a pretty good fight. So now he thinks, for all intents and purposes, that
He's
the
done.
fight is over, that he won. So now he's trying to head back to the water.
Yep.
Because
But
at that particular moment, yeah, he's feeling kind of dry.
yeah, she breaks off again. She has to literally walk herself through
Walkers, yep,
and I'm like, oh God, I don't please, I hope in my life I never have to get something stabbed through me where I have to do something like that.
like
Like a
that.
painful. Um and she pretty much jumps over him and pretty much she just hits the thing on the ship that was there. It just fires off like these crazy like explosion fire heat waves.
Mhm,
It just
mhm.
burns his back and he's just down for the count. He's got her,
Correct.
got the spear, and she looks like she's about to like pretty much slit his throat and kill him.
Yep. Yep.
But then that's when you kind of flash back to the discussion she had with
M'Baku.
what is it, with Killmonger, of like,
Killmonger. I'm sorry, with Killmonger.
well, what do you want to do? And then eventually, early in the movie, it was Rwanda said, there was a point where I just felt the presence of your brother from the ancestral
Correct.
plane. She didn't believe that. Eventually, you hear Angela Bassett says, "Show them who you are,"
Hmm.
which makes Shuri snap back into reality that she's not a killer. She's not
She's
that type
not.
of person.
She's not that type of person. So she doesn't wind up killing, but I think she makes a deal
Yeah.
with him as well.
She tells him pretty much stand down, and by the stand down, whenever Wakanda's in trouble, you will aid us.
You will aid us.
So pretty
And
much just
obviously, and obviously, she also said, I'm pretty sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. She would also say, if you guys are in trouble, we will help too, or something
yeah,
of that nature.
yeah,
She made it seem like that I want to enter into a partnership with you, which goes back to what you were saying about a potential, possible, blooming relationship between her
and
and
Namor.
maybe, could be,
Yeah.
possibly. I don't know. But, so, at that particular moment, Louise, the fight is done.
Yep, he yields. They go confront
He
because it
yields,
looks like the
they go.
Wakandans are backed into a corner where they're about to be killed, but then they both tell them to stand down.
Yep,
They go their separate ways and make this
yep,
partnership. I
yep.
believe this is one of Namor's family members. This is like, why would you do that? Why would you yield?
Namora, his cousin. Yeah,
Why would you
Namora.
yield? Why would you yield to the Wakandans? Why, we had them. Why would you do that? And obviously, that's when he made the mentions like, well, you see, the surface world's going to be coming after Wakandan, and when that's the time, we're not cool with the surface world either. When the time comes, will assist them and help them. So I don't know if they're maybe setting up maybe a potential, I guess, in a way where maybe she doesn't, it's like, what, screw this. I don't like what you stand for. I
Yeah.
don't like the fact that you want to do that. Maybe it's this whole thing where she somehow gets some sort of members of the Talocons to turn against Namor, and then you have some sort of civil war between Namor and obviously other Talocons because they don't like the fact that, oh, why are you taking the sides of the Wakandans and yielding to them and everything. That could be maybe a story point later down the road.
Maybe.
Don't
Maybe.
know.
Maybe.
We find out that Ross, because Val ends up like, oh yeah, I saw you had the beads this entire time because he ends up taking the beads from the crime scene. She's like, you were helping them the entire time, and I already knew about it.
I
So
already knew about it.
they pretty much kind of deem him like what you would say, what's I forgot that stupid term, a double agent.
Enemy of the state.
Yeah, enemy of the state. So they're on the way to arrest him. The Wakandans actually break him out of that, and I'm guessing he's going to be taken back to Wakanda because that's the safest place he could.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
The whole M'Baku, he's fighting for to be the ruler of Wakanda, which I think he'll more than likely. You're not going to have a character like him not be the king of Wakanda, and everything. Because originally it was supposed to be Shuri, but she didn't go that way. She actually ends up going to Haiti, to go live off with Nakia, and that's when she also comes to the resolution. She's willing to move on her grief. She puts the white robe as an honorance to, finally take her life and move on past her brother and even her mother's.
And while they're doing all that, just like we talked about earlier, they're going through, Marvel is going through phases of Chadwick Boseman and different scenes throughout all the different movies he was in the MCU. And I gotta admit, it was a pretty emotional, but it was still quiet.
Yeah.
It was still quiet, very quiet in the theater. You were right about that. I don't think that was just your theater or mine. I'm pretty sure that was the norm all the way around, in which she is just totally thinking about everything that her brother meant to her. And then shortly after that, Nakia starts walking up with a little boy.
So after the mid credits, after the mid credit scene is over, there's only one.
That's because it's only the mid credits. There are no end credit scenes. So sorry about that, people. If you're waiting for,
people, you do not get any Doctor Doom in this movie, which makes absolutely no sense. Like, why would Doctor Doom appear for this movie?
You get no Doctor Doom, no Fantastic Four, you get no Quantum Mania, you get nothing.
Only thing Quantum Mania related you get is the trailer before the movie starts.
That's correct. You get none of that. There's no lead in to any other Phase 5 movie. Nothing.
So mid-credit scene happens. Nakia goes ahead and she's walking with this little boy, and Shuri's like, who's this? And pretty much Nakia's like, there's a reason why I didn't go to T'Challa's funeral. And this is when he introduces Shuri's nephew, which is the son of T'Challa and Nakia. Pretty much to him. I forgot his Haitian name. But pretty much Nakia didn't want him to go to Wakanda and feel, I guess, out of place in a way, like it was his calling to be there. And she probably didn't want others, Wakandan people, to know, hey, this is T'Challa's son, which means more than likely he's going to be the next king in line now.
Which they did not want that pressure on that little child, because obviously it would have been a lot of it. Yes.
And Nakia makes a mention that her and T'Challa, both when he was still alive, came to this decision that he would go live in Haiti away from the sun. Ramonda managed to get to actually see him before she passed away. And, the movie ends off with him giving his Haitian name. And then, Shuri asked, like, what's your Wakandan name? And I can understand why some people would break down. I did watch another reviewer yesterday, said he broke down when he heard that whole thing. And we find out his Wakandan name is T'Challa.
It's T'Challa. So that kind of gives you maybe an inkling that, maybe they might cut to, so many years down the road, whereas this new version of T'Challa is going to be the next Black Panther. Now, me personally, since we're already over this and we're, For me, it seems like they kind of ended the franchise for me.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like there's really no way else to go with Shuri being Black Panther. And if you do this latest version of T'Challa as Black Panther, what is it going to be? Something like 10 years into the future?
My
You
thing
know,
about this, and
it's possible with anything that can go on with Quantum Mania.
my
We
my
don't know.
my my thing about this, and the reviewer I watched, he said this could set up a potential thing. Well, we got Avengers, Kang Dynasty coming, Avengers
Correct.
Secret War is coming. So guess what?
Correct.
Here's a way to bring this version of T'Challa. Just say it's a time trap. It's a different. It's a much older one from a different.
Correct.
I guess you
Correct.
could say
And I said
timeline.
that as well too. I said, listen, I said with the way they're going, the only way they can possibly make this version of T'Challa the Black Panther is if they do something. And because this whole phase, these next few movies are all about maybe not necessarily time travel, but it's also with
Build up to King.
the build up to Kane and what he does when he tries to warp reality into what he wants. So it would stand to think that, maybe, just maybe, that we might see another Black Panther movie, but with this particular child grown as a man into the character. But as far as Shuri being another Black Panther, I personally can't see it because it just looked like they just ended the franchise. That's what it looked like to me.
I
That
think
they
I think they might make one more Black Panther movie
maybe,
with this
maybe,
cast of characters. Like I said,
maybe,
they did the whole thing of the fact that it looks like I guess the Americans are going to be coming after Wakanda now, which
maybe.
would be weird from the standpoint. Well, I guess the secret. Well, I want to say just all of America. The secret agency of
Could
America wants to get the vibranium, and this could be a whole thing.
could
And
be.
who knows? We got Val, who's definitely into this. Maybe she sends the Thunderbolts to, be
Maybe, I
like,
don't
go to
know. I
Wakanda.
but yeah, again, just for me, I just, with the way that movie ended and that nice little tribute to Chadwick Boseman at the end of the movie, I just it would be really
Could
difficult
be.
me to sit up here and try to, make another Black Panther movie or keep making Black Panther movies. I mean, my thing would be just, you know, let the man rest in peace. Let's remember him for the great person that he was. But to continue on, you know, the Black Panther mantle, just keep going on with it. I mean, I just don't see the point to it. I really don't. I really don't. I just, it just does not make any sense for Shuri to move on as Black Panther. For me, it just doesn't make any sense to have this young man who's probably about what, 10 years old,
Looks about
maybe,
seven,
maybe
6, 7.
6, 7 years old. I mean, then go 10 years into the future and have him, another Black Panther, which is possible. You don't have to do another movie, but any view of the Black Panther to me would just skew, you know, for me, just how great Chadwick Boseman was to that character.
Yeah. So this movie ends off phase 4. Phase 4 is done, I guess. If you
Yep.
want to be literal, the only phase 4 property we have left is that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I'm not watching
But
that. I'm not interested
oh,
in
I'm
that.
just gonna check it out because I'm gonna check it out. But
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna count that. It's gonna be canon to the MCU timeline.
yeah,
But honestly, I'd rather say that just starts off phase 5, but
yeah.
whatever.
I got to admit, after She-Hulk and now this Guardians of the Galaxy thing, I'm just more interested in getting into Phase 5. Just looking forward, just looking forward to moving out. So,
Yeah. And
um,
before we get out of here, just a quick kind of ending off of this phase 4. Phase 4 was controversial for some of the right and some of the wrong reasons. For me personally, I just felt like phase 4, it's obviously by far, in my opinion, it's the weakest phase out of the other three. And
it's just
honest,
introductory phases to
yeah,
me. It just,
it's
it's
just
just
a replica of phase 1. It's pretty much
correct. It
what it
just
is.
it's just introductory stuff. Black Widow. This is where we got our introduction into Natasha's sister, and then the Contessa. Well, we got that introduction actually with the Contessa with the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Yeah,
but we got more of an introduction into, what she wants to do
yeah,
with certain people. We got the introduction of the Eternals.
yeah.
Um,
Eh,
yeah. I
if
mean, Shang-Chi, we got that introduction and how Shang-Chi is going to connect to Wong, who's the current Sorcerer Supreme. We got an introduction to America Jones. So, I mean, it's just basically introductory phases. I
yeah,
mean, two people are just getting off into, "No, I just need y'all to get into the story right now." No, no,
they
that's
got to
not how
build it
Marvel.
up. They got to build it up.
Yeah, that's not how Marvel does it. Marvel has to introduce these characters to soon be able to build up into, like right now, they went to phase four, introduce all these characters, and now phase five, they're gonna hit you with Quantum Medium and introduce to you who the true or what they want to let us believe is the true villain of the whole thing. Because we're gonna get the Kang Dynasty,
Yep.
but at the same time, we're also going to get Secret Wars too. So we really don't know who's the main villain in Secret Wars. It could be Kane, it could be Doctor Doom, it could be someone that we really just, I mean, you never know. It might be Eternity. They already threw out Eternity in Love and Thunder. So
Yeah.
we really just don't know. They've thrown out so many pieces that, give us an inkling of who they want the main guy to be. But in the end, we just don't know. So just keep watching.
Yeah. Going through all the things in phase four, WandaVision, it was a great show for me. Um,
I liked it.
it was probably my third favorite. No, it was my second favorite, honestly, out of all
What
the
was your favorite?
probably Loki.
Yeah, Loki was fine.
So WandaVision was my second favorite. Next up was Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know where I would place it, but I did enjoy it. I did like that show.
I
Um,
did. I did enjoy it as well too. I
yeah.
didn't like the suit at the end of the.
Well, that's what he looks like in the comics.
I know. I didn't care for it. They probably could have made it maybe just a little bit darker and not so bright. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier over Hawkeye.
Next up, Loki. Season one of Loki, by far
Yeah,
best Disney Plus show they did.
and they left you on a cliffhanger,
Yep.
which was, I think, of all the Disney shows kind of concluded what they wanted, but not Loki. Loki left you on a cliffhanger. So
Yeah.
that's what I really thought. So that's what I'm really looking forward to season two with Loki, which I think is next year too.
Yeah. What if that animated show of those what if possibilities? I liked it for what it was.
I liked it for what it was too.
You
Just
know, it just started the multiverse. I know we didn't really talk about it, but I
yeah,
just like some of just the different things
yeah.
that it has. And heck,
Between what if kind of tied into some of the things that, Doctor Strange, Madness and Multiverse kind of touched on,
yeah,
So yeah. So yeah, I did like it. And um I had to explain, why they did, because the what if books were back when I was a kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Season two is coming next as well.
Yeah. Next
So
year. Yeah.
that's the thing. Next
They
up was
haven't really talked about any other. I mean, I don't think they haven't talked about renewing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier for a season two, have they? Have
no,
you
there
heard?
it's gonna be a movie. Sam Wilson's gonna get Captain America
Understand
4.
was a New World Order. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you. All right, that
Um,
makes
yeah. And that might include the Hulk in their characters because
maybe, yeah.
yeah.
You
Uh
know, She-Hulk threw out the whole, Hulk and his son and all that stuff.
Hawkeye. I I liked it for what it
I
was.
like I
I
liked it.
understand why some people didn't like it, but I enjoyed my time with it.
I liked it as well too. I mean, I love me some Haley Steinfeld. I mean, I think she's another really good actress. She was just annoying as Kate Bishop for me,
Mhm.
just a little annoying.
I
And
hope this one gets a season two announcement, or I hope he
I
appears
hope it
somewhere
does
else.
too.
And that's Moon Knight. Moon Knight, I really did enjoy. I liked
I
every
like
episode of Moon
I
Knight.
liked it. They could have showed Moon Knight a little bit more. They could have showed him a little bit more, instead of going through all the, different variations of, but could have showed him a little bit more. But I would probably say I liked Moon Knight more than the Falcon and Winter Soldier So I would probably say for me, Loki, yeah, Loki, Moon Knight, WandaVision, my top three.
Miss Marvel, I enjoyed Miss Marvel my
I
time.
enjoy Miss Marvel as well too.
Yeah.
I enjoy Miss Marvel more than I did Hawkeye. Obviously, She-Hulk. Yeah, I think
I don't really care about this. I haven't seen this I Am Groot. Could care less.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Um, Very controversial. She-Hulk. I was fine with it, but I can see why people didn't like it. It was definitely different compared to other MCU shows.
Yeah, first of all, it got 9 episodes, which I have no idea why. I mean, based on, looking at all 9 episodes. And you and me, we did a show for I think the first two, I
First
believe.
2 or 3 episodes, and then
Yeah. I mean, and especially when you compare it to the other shows that got 6 episodes, you're kind of wondering why. Because Moon Knight should have got, that many episodes, as good as it was. WandaVision did.
yeah,
WandaVision got 9 episodes.
it was
And
the
yeah,
first.
WandaVision,
So
yeah, WandaVision, it hit everything correctly. But Loki, I mean, they ended Loki on a cliffhanger, man. I'm sitting over like, dude, you could have definitely gave us 3 more episodes with Loki. You know, that
yeah,
show was that good. But
um,
She-Hulk, I think they were just going for the laughs instead of any kind of storyline.
yeah, just to introduce the character to the MCU.
Or maybe, I mean, yeah, introduced, but it
Introduce
just,
her, and then I guess a little bit of Daredevil. But
well, yeah, I think it was more about the comedy than the story. Because I mean, for the most part, there wasn't really any great storyline
yeah,
to She-Hulk. And, if I'm being truly honest, I just really think I just wasted my time with it. I could have did something else.
yeah. I never got a chance to see this Werewolf by Night. So I
I
can't.
did. I did. It was okay. I've never really followed the characters, so I was a bit lost. But I'll see if I can share it with you so you can watch it. Or if you got Disney Plus,
I have Disney Plus. I have Disney Plus. I
yeah,
just
it
watch them.
wasn't bad. It was a good movie to watch for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good movie to watch for Halloween. It wasn't bad, you
Yeah.
know. It wasn't one of them things that just blew my socks off. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, though, I enjoyed it for what it was, a good movie to watch for Halloween.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long either. I don't even think it was an hour.
Okay. Then going to the films before we get out of here. Black Widow. I liked my time with Black. Well, I wouldn't say I liked my time. I was fine with what I got from Black Widow. I kind of do wish that they just gave her own movie before she died.
I wish they would have done it too. And I did love how her sister was like, "You're such a poser."
Yeah.
I still love it. I watch it just to see that scene, and then I turn the movie off. Such a poser.
Yeah. Next movie, Shang-Chi. I really did enjoy this movie. I love this movie actually. It's actually one of the best Phase 4 movies on the list.
Yeah,
I
I
just
would
like
probably, yeah, I
everything.
would probably say Wakanda Forever, then Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
From, yeah,
Um, I still have yet to see Eternals.
you ain't
Some
even
point I
seen
gotta check it out.
but yeah, you got to watch it. It does introduce obviously the Eternals. It does introduce Star Fox. So it just, it was some great introductions. It is a star-studded cast, but yeah, watch it, and yeah, I think you might get some kind of understanding as far as why they introduced it.
Yeah. My personal favorite movie of Phase 4 was Spider-Man No Way Home. Just loved
Oh, I'm
every.
sorry. Yeah, you're right. There you go. Spider-Man: No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Yeah. I just loved everything. That movie gave us.
Yep.
And then I'm just
Yep.
excited to see where the future of the Spider-Man character in the MCU is gonna go. But that was my favorite one. Definitely, probably the best thing Phase 4 did because it's just an established
It
character.
hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. I gotta admit, the relationship that this marriage and that Tom Holland and
And Zendaya.
Zendaya had on screen was absolutely fantastic. They had such an on-screen chemistry. It was so good. And to have them just break up, you know, just it was just yeah, that movie was definitely the best. I'm shocked I forgot that one.
Yeah.
I guess that's the
Uh,
old man.
After that was Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. We did a review on that. I enjoyed my time with it. My uncle calls it
Oh, you mean WandaVision 2.0?
That's what I was about to say.
WandaVision 2.0. That's all it was. You would have thought they would have ended it with WandaVision, but no, you know, she sat back and planned and plotted. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and try to disrupt reality the right way this time. WandaVision 2.0.
Yeah. And then obviously the last one, other than Wakanda Forever, was Thor: Love and Thunder. I know this movie's not liked by a lot of people. I'm fine with it, with what it is. I know some hardcore Thor fans, like my uncle, just it didn't do it for him.
Come on, man. Thor is not a buffoon. He isn't. Thor is not a buffoon. I mean, I got man, if this screen was the back here, man, I got a bookshelf right over there with all types of Thor books in which Thor told Iron Man, listen here, dude, I've been holding back on you for years. Now let me show you what I'm truly about since you think you so powerful. Thor is not a buffoon. Thor is the greatest warrior in the Marvel universe, hands down. But in the MCU, they made him a dummy, and
Oh,
that's what I hate about it.
there you go.
I
But
mean, look at what they did to the Hulk.
yeah,
Look what they did to the Hulk. They
yeah,
just, yeah, they just, just,
yeah.
yeah.
Phase
Anyway, but
five.
yeah,
Phase five is going to start off next year with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm definitely looking forward to that. That'll be the next
I'm
movie
good.
review we'll give.
Me too.
Um,
Looking forward to
but
it.
I think from this point on, Marvel can only get better from this point on. Yeah, will there be some hitters for the next
Yeah,
couple of shows or movies? Maybe. Um, it just kind of is how they tell the story and where they go.
correct.
I think now some of the good stuff is going to be coming. Again, I don't have the list pulled on like potential phase five stuff, but I know Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming. Again, you saw the trailer. You've seen the trailer thousands of times. It looks epic with where they might be headed
It
there.
does look very good. It does look
Um,
very good. I'm looking forward to it as well too, because I think with this movie, you're probably going to get some type of inkling of where the Marvel universe is getting ready to head with this list of movies leading up to the Kang Dynasty.
yeah.
So, so again, just these are all introduction movies in Phase 4, and whereas with even with Spider-Man No Way Home, it was just more, I want to introduce this, I want to introduce this, so we'll see where they're gonna go, but we all know where it's headed.
Yep.
So, Marvel likes to draw this stuff out, and they're going to continue to draw it out. And along the way, they're going to get all our money because that's what studios do.
Hmm.
So, all I can tell you is go to the movies, enjoy them, take it for what it's worth. But it's Marvel is not going. Now, granted, I don't think they're going to wait 10 years like they did with the original. I don't think they're going to do that. But yeah, was it 2025?
Yeah, 2025, that range area, I believe.
Yeah.
2025, 2026, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna shorten this stuff out. And I think Secret Wars is late. I think it's 2025 when they're talking about ending this stuff out.
Yeah. Anyways,
So
guys, we're gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. I know this video was like probably about an hour, maybe more longer.
I think it's gonna be longer than that.
Yeah,
We're probably this is our longest video yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna get out of here, guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section
Yep.
your thoughts on Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, as
Yep.
well as your thoughts on Phase 4 in general. Did you like Phase 4 or did you not like it? As well as hit the subscribe button to get more MCU content, our DC movie stuff that we talk about on the channel, or any other movies. Honestly, just with the hype of the fact that the Jonathan Majors is getting all this crazy stuff. I'm honestly might need to catch up on these Creed movies because I liking where this Creed 3 might be going. Just from
Oh
what
man, Creed 1 and 2 were good.
so
Yeah,
I might have
Creed,
to
Michael B. Jordan, man. Yeah, Mike, man. You know, I hate that Michael B. Jordan was not cast in a little bit maybe of a different role in the MCU other than Killmonger, because maybe that way we could see, more of how great an actor he is.
I think he
But
didn't. I think he explains like way back in Black Panther, he didn't want to be doing the MCU stuff for long, so that's why
yeah,
they.
because you don't want to be tied into one particular character. Like
Yeah,
Chris Evans is tied into Captain America. Chris Hemsworth is tied into Thor. Now, granted, Chris Hemsworth from what I read, he said as long as Taika Waititi is doing movies, I want to continue doing Thor, which means that yeah, your character is gonna be a dumbass for the he's just because that's all Taika Waititi has been doing with Thor. He's just made him a utter dumbass, you know.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I catch up on the Creed movies, then see Creed 3. That will probably be a movie we can talk down the
Sound
line.
like you got a lot of movies to watch. So I think I might have to leave you alone for a while because obviously I'm not giving you enough time to watch all of this stuff, you know, you
Yeah.
know, you know.
Yeah, hit
But the
the
Creed
subscribe button if you
movies,
want more movie content. Again, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more anime content on the channel, anime or manga stuff. I also have to find time in my schedule to review the newest game, Sonic Frontiers, which I enjoyed playing. One of the best Sonic
oh
games.
golly, you need to talk to Diamond and she is a Sonic nut.
Does she have
She,
the game too?
man, I don't know what she got. She got all kind, she's a game designer. So I mean, she ooh,
Well,
man, yeah.
we'll get out of here, guys.
You reach out to her because I'm pretty sure she got that game up, down, here, though, here, hither and yard, all through. So yeah,
Yeah. Also, if you want to get more videos with me and my Uncle Daryl, we also have a sports channel that came from 15 Talk Sports where we talk about sports content. We'll be making
well,
another sports video
we don't
sometime.
need to talk about the NBA anytime soon. So yeah,
Anyways,
Uh,
guys,
let's
catch. Go ahead.
let's make the first NBA video after the All Star break.
Fine by me.
Yeah,
Anyways,
we're
guys,
really,
we're gonna
yep,
get out. Go ahead.
yeah. No, you go ahead. I'm
All right.
just
We're gonna get out of here, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Peace.
later.